So I bought the phone mount. It's on me now. It's a little complex, I suppose, so it's just too much for me to think about right now. So I'll take care of it once I get home. But as for now, I was just talking to this dude. I was like, nice color of your car. He's like, nice bike. I'm like, I know, thank you. Anywho, maybe we'll go through my old cemetery, Woodlawn. In a previous video, I don't know if I'm gonna upload it before this one or whatnot, but I did go into the mausoleum and I recorded the inside of the mausoleum. Which is creepy. I mean, I really liked it. Like, I'd come here, well, not here, I don't usually go to Best Buy, but I would go to work early, like before the sun was out, and it was just so ominous. It was so weird and creepy. I loved it. Who gets into that pink car back there? I'm assuming it's a worker, because why would you park all the way back there? But whatever. Maybe they just want the extra exercise. Dude, nobody wants to see your underwear. Jeez. When is that ever gonna go out of style? This is disgusting. Nobody wants to see that. Who cares what kind of fucking oh, dang it. There we go with the bleeping again. Who cares what kind of underwear? I also just ate a ADD again. Man, I gotta get diagnosed. There's something going on in my head. Anywho, man, I smell food. There it goes again. It's acting up. Binnies, it'll solve all problems. I ate one of those Listerine, those little blue things that dissolve on your tongue. And now my mouth is watering. I look like a crazy man. Thank God no one can see my mouth. Rocks are dangerous when you're on a bike. I miss this place so much. Oh man, let's go over here first. So every morning, let's try to get the bike a little bit more quiet. There we go. Every morning, this is where I'd park my car, and back there. This is all the heavy equipment and blah blah blah. Okay, this is called Showman's Rest. So what happened here a long time ago was there was a train parked on a train track. No, not just in the grass, but there was a train right there. It says Wallace Circus train wreck, 1918. Look it up if you want more. If you want more than what I can give you. But so anyway, there was a train parked, and another train carrying a circus act came and smacked the end of the stationary train, which resulted in a lot of casualties, a lot of maimings. I buried someone. One of my first cremains burials was actually right behind this bush. But there were elephants that died that had to be buried. They didn't know what to do with them, so they had to do something. So they started burying. A lot of these people are performers from said circus, and there's a couple, I don't recall specifically where they're at, or I'd walk up to it, but there are a couple that'll say like, I think one's name is Baldy, because it was just a head of somebody. Left arm of blah 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 is another one. I don't really remember. I haven't worked here in a couple years now. I do miss it. I absolutely, I mean, probably one of my favorite jobs I've ever had was ironically burying people. That is not how I got the name Grim. That's a whole different story. But yeah, that's what happened here. And now this is a really big hot spot for people coming over and doing these ritualistic type things. And in another video, I don't know if I put it up yet, but I explained a couple of them. One day I was working, and we'll pass it actually, but I saw a chicken, a living chicken walking around, and I was like, okay. So I had a gator, which is like a John Deere little tractor, and I would drive around and I'd put topsoil on graves that were sinking a little bit, just fill them up, and you know, pick up garbage and whatever. But I went over to this chicken and I noticed there were 5 of them, 5 living chickens. Ended up, I scared the guy away. There was a guy in a pickup truck. He ended up fleeing, but left 5 living chickens and 1 dead one with its head cut off. And the cops came and blah blah blah, and they're like, yeah, just leave them to the coyotes. And I was like, I'm not gonna, they just seen their buddy cut up, I'm not gonna do that to them. So I put them in the back of my little rice burner. I had a little fast, little nice car, and I took them to, it's called the Feed Store in Summit, Illinois, and they took them and they raised them. But yeah, that was horrible. Also, my old supervisor, I'm not going to say his name because you know, that's just not me, but my old supervisor, it's in the newspaper. He came here one day and there was a goat, an entire goat at the entrance that we just came in, and all the blood, it was void of blood. They drained the thing of blood, and they ended up burying it in a grave in the back. So weird stuff, on. I'm not making this up. I mean, this is real stuff. Just weird people. I mean, I get believing in stuff and having your thing. Another Freemason, 863. So I get being into stuff, but don't go where somebody, I mean, if it was my daughter buried here, man, I'm sorry, but you'd be missing some teeth if you were doing any of that crazy stuff around my daughter's place. There was, oh man, I have so many stories here, but, and there's the mausoleum that we walked through in another video. Very cool. There was a woman caught, there was a hole dug, you know, like, her ex-husband was buried, and she dug a hole in the middle and shoved something in the hole, and we noticed there was something, well, the people, I was the predecessor, so the people before me found it. They undug it, and it was a cursed thing. I guess it had some of his hair in it, and blah blah blah. I did landscaping for some lady that buried her husband there. She was a sweet old lady, and she asked if I could come to her house, so I went to her house and I did some landscaping. But anywho, yeah, there's a lot of those like cursed objects here, and I just felt so disrespected. I felt like the people that passed away were disrespected by that, because, you know, most people want a calm and quiet place to rest. And oh, and these things. Those, okay. I thought they were like mosquito catchers. They were trying to catch mosquitoes, but they're not. Ghost hunters, paranormal type, they put this thing on a string, and sometimes it wobbles like this. You'll talk, and out of nowhere it'll start like really, really wobbling. And like the ones all around it will be very still. And that could be because of, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but I mean, there's probably some law of physics that is making that happen. Maybe just air. But I'm actually looking, this was a dumping ground. Wow, they did horrible. I was able to drive up on my Gator or one of the trucks that they had me drive. This is where I learned how to ride a backhoe and everything. Oh, I'm an idiot. This is the way in, actually. And you dump the tree shrubs, stuff, just, you know, nonsense back here. And here's the other way in. Yeah, I misspoke. There's two ways in, and the further back was always like that. But yeah, I'm looking for, because a lot of the weird stuff you find is up in these trees here. Man, I want to put this video out soon. I'm trying to make it kind of a chronological order to where, you know, I didn't have this, I didn't, you know, certain things I did to the bike. Oh, there's another one of those cans, bottles. But yeah, people come here and do all sorts of weird stuff. I found knives, and dead animals was a really big, you find them all the time working here. I know what I'm looking for, so I'm looking for it. It's usually a glass jar. It's usually a glass jar with, let's get closer. I mean, there are no laws about where. Like little glass jars, and this and right where we're gonna turn is where I found a ton of them. I've destroyed quite a few because I'm like, dude, you're just, I don't know, man. Believe in whatever you want to do, but don't disrespect these people. They didn't pay good money to be in a beautifully landscaped environment and have some people wearing weird crap and, you know, putting blood and hair in jars, and I've seen urine in jars and just the weirdest stuff. But yeah, all along this wall of trees, all the way around that it wraps, is where most of what I found was. The chickens and the chicken that was killed, and the one that was killed was a white one. The rest of them were brown. But that happened in the middle somewhere over there. Just like in the middle, like it wasn't even on the side over here. And it was daylight. It was freaking daylight, and the dude was doing it. I was just about to get done with work, and I had to stay. There was another one of those bottles. I had to stay late. I really want to find one of these for you guys, because I don't know, I'm trying to give you content. Come on, bro. If you don't... I've also found them like right under these trees and stuff, so I'm trying to be vigilant. Another one of those things. Yeah, the smart answer would be they're trying to catch mosquitoes or something like that, but that's absolutely not what's going on here. Those of you who know what I'm talking about, feel free to comment. You know, I knew a lot more about it when I was, you know, here working, because obviously I was like, yo, you're on my property. I'm paid to keep this place looking nice. That just, I don't know. To me, it was idiotic. I was like, you know, believe what you want, do what you want, but this isn't your property. This isn't the place to do it. And if you're going to kill another one. DJ Khaled, another one. Yeah, I'll stop making those stupid jokes because I'm getting too old. I miss that so bad. I actually miss this so very bad. I've seen a lot here. I have so many memories. I could write a, what do they call it, a novelette or whatever. It's just a small book, like a pamphlet. I could write a pamphlet. And here is where we would get our dirt most of the time. You take a big old truck, like a giant souped up pickup truck, and you go up there above this out. We'll go back there so you can see it a little better. But you get, there's different types of dirt that you use when you're burying somebody. So what goes on the body is basically what you're, yeah, this has always been crap. It's okay. It's okay. I've got insurance if I fall. Usually you dig the hole out. You put the big concrete box in, because, you know, heavy equipment drives over all this. That's why they make you buy, I forget what they're called, but a big concrete box. And then we lower the casket. Let me shut this off for a moment. But the dirt you pick up is the dirt you put on the coffin after it's sealed, because we also put a lid on top of the thing, quite obviously. Forget how much they cost, but they're not cheap. It's like $1,000 or something like that. And it's not a gimmick. I mean, they do get you. I mean, when you're paying. My daughter was 4.5 months old when she passed away. I think we had to come up with $8,000 for all she went through. We had to rent a casket small enough for her. And, you know, working in the cemetery business and blah blah blah, I couldn't see her getting lowered into the ground. It would have murdered me. So we actually had her cremated, and she's at home with me always now. But it's still god awful expensive. And there's a guy back there, his name's Steve. His whole family was here. They were screaming. I mean, it's hard to see. You have to have a strong will to do this, or not care about how people feel, which then you shouldn't be in this business. But he was a large dude, so we had to cut out a double plot for him and get him a bigger casket. And it was nerve-wracking's not the right word, but it was something to put such a large thing down into the ground. I'm sorry, I gotta think about the rain. But it was just, it's sad. You see people cry all the time, and it's, you know, I don't know, you gotta have a strong gut, and you gotta have a strong heart. You have to have a heart. I'm covered in tattoos, so voluntarily I wore gloves even on the hot days, and I wore a turtleneck under my work clothes, because I didn't want anybody, especially older people, to be like, well, this guy's burying my husband of 50 years and he's got tattoos all over him, he looks like a gangbanger. I didn't want any of that. So you know, I opted. I told them when I was trying to get the job, I'm like, I would love to do this. I know machinery, blah blah blah. You know how you get a job, you talk. My favorite part was, I see a gator right over there. My favorite part is when they'd be like, all right, take a gator and go around and do whatever. So one day if we didn't have any burials, I would go around, and I'm not picking at anybody, but this garbage wouldn't be here if I was here. I would make it my mission to pick up the everything, absolutely everything. I also did the entire fence for the property. There's a bus stop out front. That guy's in Babyland. That's Babyland over there. Which just that's a whole nother heartstring to pull on. But the whole fence was littered with trash. I mean, cups, and just people don't care. People throwing crap out of their car. I spent an entire day. I don't want to bore you guys with just stories, but I spent an entire day, I think maybe 2 days, on that gator, filling up trash bags, bringing them back and forth, and it was flawless afterward. I should have got a before and after, but I wasn't thinking that then. Yeah, there's so many stories, and I like, things are popping into mind. and I just want to tell you guys all of it, like, but I don't want to bore anybody, because there was some creepy stuff. Okay, now I've been to some quote-unquote haunted houses. I documented a lot of stuff. I just did the Ashmore Estates, which was a poorhouse, an ale's house. I'll upload that at some point. But anywho, or I might have already by the time of this one. But I've been into a lot of quote-unquote haunted stuff. I buried a few people here, just everywhere. Oh, I got another story about a guy over here. Dang it. Here, before I was documenting anything, when I was simply working, I've had some very weird stuff. Back then, I smoked cigarettes, and I was on a lunch break, sitting in my my backhoe on top of a really big pile of dirt. That's blacktop. That's what you drive around, and you make everything look pretty. You don't want to just dig the hole and then dump that stuff, because it's like clay and blah blah blah. So you take the blacktop and you put it on. You go in your gator and you fill them up, and they look nice. But I was sitting up there on top, and I'm not a scared person. This is Babyland. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but we're also moving. Yeah, see, Babyland. Very sad. Absolutely, just horribly sad. And if you notice, they don't mess with the reefs and stuff as much as everywhere else. Anywho, oh, that guy was on a bike. Sorry, dude. My brother. So the bike's acting funny. It's like, tell the dang story already. So I was sitting up there in my backhoe. I was eating lunch. I was eating a sandwich and smoking a cigarette because I had to hurry up, and I didn't like to be seen smoking while on the job. Duh, you know, it's just completely inconsiderate. I was sitting up there, and I felt a little off. Like, whatever, it's kind of creepy. It's dark in there. There was at least one maintenance man killed in there, either by a crushing or an electrocution, something back in the day, I don't know. But I'm up there and just enjoying my cigarette, and I swear to Almighty God, I look to my left and I'm on this big old pile of dirt. I don't know, at least 10 feet in the air. Yeah, I mean, I'm 6 foot tall. It was above my head, so I had to climb up to get to it. So anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm having my cigarette, I'm having my sandwich, and I feel a little off. I look to the left of me, and right on the pile of blacktop was a distinctive boot mark go into the soil, the topsoil, which is pretty soft. And my heart skipped a beat. I dropped my sandwich on the seat next to me, and I got the heck, I'm trying not to swear, I got the heck out of there quick. I mean, I ran down the hill of blacktop and out the door. I radioed my supervisor. I don't think it was my supervisor. I don't know. I radioed the dude that was in charge that day, the manager or whatever, and I told him everything that happened. I was like, dude, you know, blah blah blah, and he said, yeah, I've heard a lot of people have, you know, stuff happen, especially where people had died on the property. I believe right in here there was a guy that took his own life on a bench here. And the reason a lot of these people come here and do ritual type crap is because they don't have gates to close. So it says it's closed from dawn to dusk or whatever the heck it is, but there's no gates. You're allowed in. Well, you get in. I keep saying I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think. There's so much. I was here for a while. I absolutely loved it. That thing, I drove everywhere. Probably that exact truck. And right here, okay, another weird thing. Let's go down here. This is where I believe the chickens were. It's hard because they all look somewhat similar. I knew very well back then. I knew every name of. I would drive past the people and I'd say, good morning, John, or whatever the person's name was. Just, I mean, they're probably not listening, but if they are, I want them to know, you know, you're not alone. There's actually a bench here that says, anyone who passes may sit and rest. So I'd be on my gator, I'd be sweating, excuse me, and I'd go right to, I'd sit at that bench for a second, and just, I don't know, dwell for a minute, say hi to the people. But yeah, I'm nearly positive this is where the chickens were, right here. It was snowy. I didn't see the dead one at first. I only saw, I was mainly focused on the living ones, but the dead one was thrown, and you saw his body, where his body would have rolled, and blood and everything. It was horrible. It was disgusting to see that. Like, dude, especially if you're not using it for food, you are wasting a life. And I still feel that way. Like, God, it's just plain disrespect, plain disregard for, you know, life. Life in general, man. Life is beautiful. But another thing is, I think in this next section, I was getting rid of decorations, like for Christmas or something. I don't know what it was for. Wait a minute. It was... hold on. No, it wasn't Christmas because everything was green. There was absolutely no snow. So it was after a holiday or something, but there was a certain allotted time that you were able to keep some stuff up, and the time had passed, so they were like, go around and take everything down. Now, no, it wasn't. Was it this? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get this completely right. But anything that was personalized, anything that had a name on it. Some people are very smart and they put a tag with the person's number, and I would put it in where we would park our vehicles, right in that section. And you know, I had this one lady fly up to me, slam on the brakes and say, "Did you get rid of my daughter's wreath?" Not wreath. It might have been, anyway. Like, "Did you get rid of my daughter's blah blah blah?" And I was like, ma'am, hold on, what did it look like? And she said it was pink, and I was like, okay, it had a name like Connie on it or something. I'm just coming up with a name. And she's like, yes. And I was like, I saved it for you, hon. It's right by that building. And she said, I am so sorry for yelling. She was crying. I was like, ma'am, I completely get you. And no, you were smart enough to write your name on it. And it was so big and beautiful. It was custom. So I was like, this is not something to toss. But okay, here it was. I was in this section. Oh my God, this is creepy. This is creepy. Now, I was in this section. Sorry, I got new boots. I don't want to not put into neutral and you know, tip off the bike. But okay, I was in this section. I'll turn off the bike one last time and then we'll get going. I'm sorry, I don't want to bug nobody. I was, and I have to make sure I'm recording because I didn't have much battery left. As always, it should be what's next on my t-shirt. How much battery do I have? I was in a section over here. I just manicured the lawn, and man, I'm getting this weird feeling. I was bending over and picking up, you know, like the little flowers and stuff like that. And I swear to God, I'm not one to lie. Anybody who knows me knows I do not like BS. When you lie, you got to cover it up. You got to remember what you said. It's idiotic. Tell the truth. And, you know, I've gotten into some heated arguments because I'm not going to lie to you. If you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you what I feel. Or don't ask me the question if you don't want the honesty. But anywho, I'm not one to, you know, throw things out of proportion, but this actually happened. Then I told everybody afterward. I told my supervisor. I was freaking out. So I was cleaning up these, you know, the little ones that are from the dollar store, and putting them in the back. I'd gather them and then walk them to my gator and put them in the back of the gator to be disposed of by the garbage can, by the place where the cars go, the workers' cars go. I don't hear anything. And I had one camouflage earbud in to listen to music. It was Bluetooth. I'm listening to music and I hear someone say something, and I look over and it's a lady. She had to be 60s. I mean, not a very old woman, you know, not a young chick, but not an old woman. You just, you know, I would say about 60s. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am, hold on. So I pushed the button on the side of my ear thing, so it paused. And I was like, can I help you? And she said, where are we? And I was dumbfounded. I was like, I didn't know if she meant what section. I didn't know what the heck she meant. And I said, we're at Woodlawn Cemetery, ma'am. And she kind of giggled. She's like, I know, honey, thank you. And she just about-faced and walked off. And I was like, okay. I'm sorry, I keep checking my battery. And I was like, okay, you have a beautiful day. I bend down, I pick up maybe 2 more dollar store things. I want to not ignore her, but I don't want to like she might be looking for someone. And I look over and she's not freaking there. Happened right over here in this little section. I was facing that way, my gator was over here. Now you see there's shrubs and trees, so I didn't initially freak out. I was like, okay, this lady obviously, she didn't run and duck behind something, but I'm missing something. Unless I like froze in time for 10 minutes and, you know, then everything was normal. But that didn't happen. I didn't seizure or anything like that. And yeah, I was like, okay, what's going on? I looked everywhere and she was nowhere. And for the 10 seconds at a maximum that I picked up 2 things, you know, side by side, 2 things of flowers, 10 seconds. She could not. There was no vehicles on these roads. I'm very well aware of my surroundings. She was nowhere. I mean, it's like she was playing a prank on me, jumped behind one of these headstones and lay down on the ground. It was the weirdest freaking thing. I immediately got in my gator, and just to feel like I wasn't going nuts, I took the gator and I drove around looking for her, and I couldn't find her anywhere. It was the weirdest, like, actually seeing something. The thing that happened with the boot imprint, that freaked me out. I ran out right away, but I didn't see anybody. I just saw a distinctive shape of a boot, and it was pressed. I mean, so it wasn't, you know, like there was a pocket of air. I had walked up the thing. But anyway, yeah, some creepy stories here. It was actually cool. In hindsight, you know, hindsight's 20/20. I could have, you know, engaged with her more. Okay, then I asked people I told people my story. I forget who it was. Someone looked it up and said that there was a woman, a ghost, that walks around here trying to find her daughter's grave. The woman asked me, where are we? And I was like, Woodlawn Cemetery, ma'am. You know, just for something to say. I didn't know if it was a section. But when I heard that, I got goosebumps. And I was like, oh my God. Was it literally the lady that people talk about, that's written about, that is asking people? Like, she legitimately goes around, well, that's what's said. She goes around asking people where her daughter is, something. But I was asked, where are we? And I, you know, whatever. I chalked it up to, you know, maybe a long day. I'm very hot, whatever. But I know what I saw. I know I talked to somebody. And then I heard that story that night, and I was like, alarm bells in my head, like, oh my God, I need to see her again. So every time I'd work, I'd keep my eyes open even more. I'd be, you know, on top of really trying to see stuff. And it was like the times that you weren't expecting something, that something would happen. But yeah, that's one big story about here that I can't explain whatsoever. The footprint I can't explain whatsoever. There's a couple more like that, but maybe that'll be a different video. Just wanted to show you guys and share a little bit about myself. Like I said, I was always respectful, very respectful, because, you know, you can't not be. Oh yeah, and you got to carry these big concrete boxes, and then the lid, or no, I think they have the lid on them. Anyway, you carry them with the backhoe. You have this, and it's hanging by chains. And one of the guys that I was working with, I won't mention his name, he was coming down here to do a burial down to my left, where we had just come from. I'll actually go down one more time to see if I can see any of the weird stuff. Oh man, it's gonna rain. But anyway, it might have been that black one. He pulled up and stopped too hard, and the thing started swaying forward and backward. He actually ended up breaking one. He hit the ground over there because there's a divot. He hit the ground and it shattered all this concrete. Oh my god. The bosses were understandably upset, but they weren't yelling at him or anything like that. They're like, hey man, you know, this isn't a cheap mistake, but he's been here forever, blah blah blah. He's an older guy. But this one particular time, he did the same thing where oh, they got new gators. That's a lot cooler. Mine was green. That thing's camo. He stopped too hard and the thing started swaying, and I put myself like an idiot, you know, again, hindsight, it was probably stupid because this thing's gotta weigh a ton, you know, half of that maybe. No. Yeah, it's gotta, I don't know, at least half a ton. They're huge and it's all concrete. But I put myself between it and and a headstone it was going to hit, one of those big ones. It was a black marble headstone. I'll never forget it. And it's right toward the middle of the cemetery. But I put my back against the headstone, put my arms out, and did my best to push and push and push so it didn't collide any. I wonder what that was. Babyland. Yeah, and it didn't tap the thing, it didn't crack it, nothing like that. And I felt accomplished, and I was just gonna say his name, and he was like, oh my god, thank you bro so much, thank you. I was like, dude, you're welcome, that's it. But in my head I'm like, you know how expensive that would be? Like, we have to buy the marble, we gotta get the name cut in and blah blah blah. In my head, I didn't want to make him feel worse than he probably already did. But yeah, that was just another tidbit. We had a landscaping company come out and do our lawn, because back in the day when the original owner bought this place, they cut the workers cut everything. But with, you know, higher demand, more people being here, it just wasn't plausible anymore. It wasn't reasonable anymore. You would have to hire 10 more people. So they got, I think it was not True Green, it was Bright something. Something Bright or Bright something. Ooh man, I smell death, bro. It's like an animal carcass. It's so weird. I really don't want the freaking battery to die. I want to check it, but I have to shut it off to check it. I don't want anything to happen and then be like, would you believe what just happened? Like, come on bro, you're just trying to get these views. It's not my style though. Should I challenge this guy to a race? Hey brother. He didn't want any. Yeah, I'm looking for, like I said, it's usually in between the trees. It's usually a glass jar, a picture of the person, and I've noticed a lot of them are female. Most of the pictures are of females. I don't know. I hope I don't have anyone who hates me enough to, you know, try to put a curse on me. But I want to find one so you guys see what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna lie, I brought one home. I showed my supervisor and he's like, yeah, we just break them or throw them away. And I was like, could I bring this one home? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's like taking a bag of chips off the ground. I'm getting rid of littering. But I brought it home because it was in a red liquid. I mean, it was in a red sticky liquid. Let's just keep it at that. I found one in there as well also. Hold on a minute. Is that just garbage? I don't want to take the chance. But there was a red liquid and these old school nails on what looked like a toe tag, like what they put on a dead person. It was that shape with a little circle on top. It had nails, and it was going through what I swear to God looked like flesh. And I ended up calling I forget what the heck it was. I don't know what it would be considered, but if I'm sure, I'll go, but I don't want to take the chance and just be walking through this crap. But I called a company and I'm like, is there any way to get this thing tested? I told them what happened. I told them, you know, I work at a cemetery, found this weird thing. There's more of those bottles. Why I made that sound, I don't know, but that's when you're pointing that Sprite, you gotta go. So yeah, they said so. I can't remember. It was just, we didn't get it done. We ended up not doing it, and I kept it at my house for some time. Nothing evil came of it, you know, nothing weird happened at my house after having it or anything like that. People ask me, I'm like, no, nothing more than the usual ghost stuff that happens around my home. But, yeah, I don't know. Not finding any. Alright, you guys, if the video ends up stopping, I'm very sorry. I'm going to start heading home here in a sec. If the video stops, I apologize that I didn't say goodbye. Just know ahead of time, I love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every last view. I've been getting some really good reception from people, so I just really appreciate your time doing this weird stuff with me. I'm trying to think of anything weird else I could take you over. This is all garbage, man. Disrespectful people, bro. But yeah, I got nothing else. That's about it. Well, I got more stories, but like I said, we could have story time one day if someone comments and they're like, yo, sit in front of the camera and tell some stories about blah blah blah. I'm down to do that. I'm totally down. I'll have a drink with me, and you know, I'll just tell you some weird stuff. But so far, those were the weirdest things that I could think off of hand that has happened in my time here. I was here for a while, and like I said, I loved it. Oh my God. If you respect cemeteries, respect the workers, man. It is not an easy task. After you dig the hole with the backhoe, you have to jump into the hole and go with the shovel and scrape down all the sides to make sure it's straight. And I can't remember what the thing was called. But when the concrete thing gets dropped in, you need to make sure it doesn't snag on any of the corners and start tipping, because then you got a whole other problem, especially in front of the family. That would not be good. So you make it just a tad bit lighter, or wider, I'm sorry. And you use the dirt that you took out to put on top. The family does their things, blah, 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 blah. When the family leaves, that's when you take down all the green, you put the stuff, you put the chairs, the canopy thing. I'm getting a weird feeling, bro. And the bike's acting weird. Oh, I'm out of gas. That would explain it. Alright. So, okay, everybody. Again, for the 96th time, thank you for taking this journey with me. Oh, there was a boxer over there. And people who know me know I've been fighting for a very, very long time. So when I saw his gloves, I was like, oh man. I sat there and I stood there and I talked with him for a little bit, and you know, he didn't say anything back, but you know, if he was around, I just wanted to be like, yo, me and you share the same profession. All right, I actually heard, because I wasn't flying down the highway or anything, I heard the battery beep beep beep. You didn't charge me, dude. So all right, what I was saying at the end of that video was Aramark. They're the ones who wash the uniforms for Dignity, and I'm not sure if it's all Dignity locations, but at least this one. We after we dirtied our uniform, we'd put it in a thing, and they take it to their facility and wash it and bring it back, you know, a couple days later. I don't know if you can see in my mirror if I'm looking properly, but the those are the... No, I'm not gonna... Whatever. The big white thing in my mirror, that's what you go down. That's what the casket gets dropped in. The walls are different. When you're going into the wall as a full casket, that's different. You don't require that to go into a mausoleum. So... Okay, and just because I had to put a freaking new for the first time, I put the battery in without taking the helmet off. So let's hope it doesn't fall off on the way home. But, so this place, let's see if it's open. When I worked here, it was unlocked and we would just lock it up at nighttime. But things have changed, so I don't know. The boots? I've always wanted these, the metal things. Through Friday. All right. So. Got my got a little winded. So space here, that's weird. So anywho, let's see where it was. 2018, 2017. I can't remember specifically. I think that a mill up there, 1930 born. It was either 2017 or 2018. It was one of these two. It could have been that Norman over there. Anyhow, the only problem I ever had was it was one of these guys that I buried. And you have this machine that's in this back room, and you put the casket on it and you ride it up. It's like a scissor lift, but a little bit different. And we get up there, and my supervisor, or my manager at the time, was down here. I had never done one of these at that point. Afterward, I did dozens of them, but oh, sorry, I'm getting lost. But you go up and you put them in. The thing is, these things have to come off first, all four. Then this heavy piece comes out and you put it down. There's another layer behind it. Some people say for smell, some people say for cushion when it moves a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Carol Foxy. My daughter, one of her millions of nicknames was Foxy Roxy, so that's cute. But anyhow, we get all the way up there, me and this guy that just got hired like that week. We go up there, and I won't mention his name, but my manager's standing down here, and the family's all here, and they're watching us work, And I told him before, when I don't know exactly how to do this, you know, especially you're sending me up here with a dude that's been here a week. So we get up there. There's these little like wooden, just like sticks, but it's to make it easier to push in and get the casket in. Everything's fine, but I don't recall. And I was like, do we put this part backward or does it go forward? Does the squishy part come on this side? So I look down and I'm like, and he's like, go ahead. And I don't like to be talked to like that. Like, don't disrespect me, especially when I talk to you ahead of time and say, maybe it's smart if you and I do this. Or if you want to teach this guy, you and this guy do this. But in front of the family, I have no chance to speak my opinion. So I'm up there and I'm not going to do it wrong. So I said his name. I'm like, you know what? How about you come up here and finish this? So I went down. I let him go up, and as calmly and, you know, peacefully as possible, because I'm not here to disrespect anyone, especially if this is my job. But that was the only kind of hiccup. Oh my God. Oh, it was freaky. It might have been my reflection. I have no idea. But yeah, that was the only hiccup I've ever had in this entire, you know, ever working here. I absolutely loved it. This is beautiful too, and real marble. It's not like plastic that looks like marble. But yeah, this wraps around and there's people on the outside. These are cremains, so same concept. You take these things out, the cremains go into the wall, and whatever. I guess favorite is a bad way to put it, but my favorite kind of burial would be cremains, just simply because there's very chance of an error. There's a very small chance that you're going to mess it up. You have to dig a hole, and the top, there has to be, depending on if it's cremains or if it's a full casket, there has to be a certain amount of soil on top of said thing, you know. So the cremains can go a little higher. You don't have to dig all the way deep down. And when they say 6 feet deep, that's not entirely accurate. It's about that. You have to have X amount of dirt on top, so you're about 6 feet down. That giant rock, I don't know if you guys could see it, and I'm very sorry if I'm like all over the map, but it's just this was my life for a while and I absolutely loved it. That rock over there says about the guy that opened this place. It was one old dude a long time ago, and then it became, you know, dignity swallowed it up and took it over or whatever. But that's cool. And there's a soldier at the very end. That's what made me think of it. I was going to say it before, but then, you know, whatever I don't have diagnosed with yet kicked in, and I went on another subject. But there was a soldier, and I think I said this in another video when I checked out the other mausoleum. I don't know if it's on YouTube yet, but there's a guy over there, and he's cremains. He's just in a box this big. And you either have to buy one strong enough for our equipment to ride over, or you have to buy like not a sarcophagus, I don't know, a thing to go around it. But this guy's was strong enough, so we went to bury him. We had you cut a hole, and this is all by hand because it only has to be like 4 feet deep or 3 feet deep or whatever. It requires like a foot of dirt on top. I can't remember the numbers, but you dig the hole, you put this fake grass, you know, you all know what I'm talking about, just a sheet of green, and it has little flaps that go down into the hole, so it's just a more aesthetically pleasing for the family. And then when you do a service, usually if it's military, what's really beautiful is they bring trumpet players out, and you'll have one guy here, you'll have one guy like a block that way, and a guy over there, and the echo effect in such a large area, and all this stone, everything bouncing off, it's a sound that you can't duplicate anywhere else. It's just simply beautiful. But this dude, this soldier, we bury him, and well, okay, we're waiting to bury him. his hearse comes in with him in the back of it, and the driver, we talked to the driver, and a very long story short, nobody came. The wife was going to come, and it was a plan on waiting on her, but it started raining, and I don't know if she just didn't want to be in the rain. I don't know if, you know, I don't know their circumstance, so I can't speak to that. But he had nobody that he knew at his final, you know, he's already cremated, so I mean, he was, I don't want to say burnt, but the cremation took place in the crematory over there, but across the street, right next, it's connected to the other mausoleum, a lot bigger than this. But we were like sad, like just grown men, very sad about someone we've never met. But the dude served our country. I mean, you have to feel something for that. So the hearse driver asked, he's like, do you guys mind if I say a prayer really quick? And I was like, brother, if you didn't, I was going to, so please, yes. We all stood over him, we bowed our head, we said a prayer out loud. It was very beautiful. It was very respectful for the man that absolutely deserved people to be there for him. It's hitting me a little bit, but we said our goodbyes, and I remember saying, I'm very sorry your wife couldn't make it. It's really bad weather, and I forget I didn't really give an excuse, but I said, oh, there's a little yellow bird that's so cute. There you go with that non-diagnosis. You guys get to a doctor if you think you've got a problem. But yeah, it was really sweet. It was really sweet to say goodbye to the guy, and we said, we're sorry, your family isn't here, but I'm sure they absolutely loved you, and they have reasons for not being here. But I have half a mind to go try to find the guy. But yeah, you go through a lot. You go through a lot of emotions doing this job, and I think the thing that really killed me the absolute most was I had to bury a 7-year-old girl, and right where we were at, you could rent that place out to for basically a viewing, and we saw her. I saw her face. I mean, I saw the pretty little girl in the box, and I'm sorry. Oh, pretty bird. I saw the girl, and this was before my daughter had passed away, or was it? Oh, I don't even remember. I don't know. But it was very hard to see her and then have to put her in the ground. And I told myself when I went into the mausoleum, I'm like, don't look at her. You know, they already told you it's a little girl. But I did, just to say, hey, I love you. I don't know you, but I love you. And I'm sorry. You know, you had so much, you know, God knows where she'd be right now. God, man, Jesus, man, they've got a medicine for this. I swear to God they do. It's gonna rain. I should start getting back. But yeah, that day was probably the hardest. I'm not gonna lie. I went home and I got trashed. And I was just like, everyone leave me alone, please let me have today. And then I explained to everybody and they understood why. But people are doing something over here, so I don't want to disrespect them at all. But the soldier is right in between these two trees. I don't recall if he had a headstone or a footstone or anything. I believe he did. I don't know. But yeah, we sat there and we prayed for the guy, and it was really sad because some people got 150 cars that show up, and you know, some people legitimately don't have anyone, and it just pulls at the heartstrings really tight. And I can't even tell you, I can't describe what it feels like to bury a child. I mean, for one, I had to say goodbye to my, woo, onions, bro. I'm not crying, you're crying. I had to say goodbye to my little Roxy, so I know how it is to go through that process. But even to see a pretty little girl in a box that she shouldn't even know what it is, and then, you know, an hour later I'm pouring dirt on top of her. I mean, it killed me. It was, oh man, was it hard. I don't know. So, just, I don't know. Be happy with what you got. One day it won't mean anything, you know. Nice bikes, nice cars. They don't mean nothing. It's material. I mean, everybody said goodbye to somebody. Everybody's been through that kind of pain. Let's just hope that not too many people have had to say goodbye to kids. You know, there are a lot. I mean, I met a lot. I go to meetings with people. Whew, all right. Enough of this for today. I am swamped when it came. Oh man, I don't even know what to say. I'm sorry. This is horrible commentary. Period. This place I swept up a lot. There was always like the stuff from the tree fell and everything. They did really good, but there was always greenery there that I don't care what the heck else I was doing. I would bring a broom on my gator and I'd sweep that off. And hopefully the family came and saw and said, wow, someone took really good care of our people, you know. Oh, look at they. Yeah, no, they have this symbol. I mean, it means rock and roll. It means a lot of things. In sign language, that means I love you. So that might be it. But man, just so many memories. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to eat up time and blah blah blah. But it's hard. It's hard to be back here. But all right, I will head out now. Please let me know what you guys think. If you think I'm talking too much, if you think, you know, there should be more riding, let me know. Please. Like I said, I'm a very honest person. I won't get butthurt. This is an homage to all the military sectors. Yeah, that is about it. Oh, there was a building here. Oh, wow. They tore it down. It was pretty dilapidated. But there was a building there with odds and ends, kind of like storage, but it was falling apart, like for real. But those are the things I'm talking about that I can't really remember what the heck they're called. And there's small ones back there for cremains burials. That right there in that corner, they still got the dirt. They still keep the dirt there. That's the corner. I'll let this guy go first. They got the wood in the same. Ooh, someone pushed this out. Sometimes, you know, a forklift goes and punctures it. I've seen that, but that was not blown out when I was here. That's recent. But yeah, they keep the blacktop in the same spot. It's in this corner, and I had my backhoe on top of it with my scoop down, and that's where I was having my cigarette and my sandwich, and that's when I saw the footprint. Man, I wish I could go in there to show you guys, because there's stuff. I could tell you what everything means. You probably don't want to know. But yeah, look it up. It's called Showman's Rest. This is Woodlawn Cemetery. And you can read the whole story. They still got the original newspaper clippings online. So I guess not original, but whatever. They got You could look it up online. It's kind of, I mean, it's tragic, but it's a cool story. Some people say at nighttime you could hear elephants, and you know, I've never personally experienced that, and I was very receptive to it and very open for new experiences and whatnot. So if it were to happen, I think I would have, you know, been around for at least something. But other than, I mean, the lady that I saw, that was St. Andrew's Lodge. Huh. I'm from Men in Brotherhood Lodge. Ooh, there's a funeral coming in. Let's stay the heck out of their way. There's like a burning popcorn smell happening right now. That's not the crematory. That's not the crematory. And I've seen, oh my God, I won't say it on here, but being in the crematory, because I was thinking about doing that as well. It stinks because when it's 90 outside, it's 106 in there, and where that big tower is, that's where it happens. But there's multiple ovens with these really advanced computer systems. It's all touchscreen, so you don't get anything wrong. And there's a certain process that, I think that was my old boss. There's a certain process. See? What the heck is going on with the bike? That's freaking weird. I know how to handle her, man. It can't be the crematory. I don't know what that burning smell is. But anyway, there's a certain thing. That's actually the crematory. I'm sorry. That's the door on my other video. That's the door that swung open on me when I was talking about someone that I buried in there next to her husband. Her husband had died, I don't know, in 97 or whatever. You guys check out the other video. And I had to put her in, and it was weird. His pallbearer's gloves were on top of his casket still. It was very, very, there was a feeling there. But anyway, that's where they do the crematory stuff. And again, I won't get into how it happens, because especially like if you probably had someone cremated, you don't really want to, I mean, you could kind of guess, but there's a lot more that goes into it. It's more physically demanding than people think. You don't just put somebody in an oven and let it happen. You physically have to do some stuff. And yeah, so props to these guys. Not an easy job. That's where we would walk in. I believe there were 3 giant ovens. One of them was out of commission. They're big stainless steel. They're beautiful. They've got these, like I said, these computer panels on the front of them. Everything's touchscreen. It tells you what temperature. It tells you if anything's going weird or anything. And the guy that worked there, the guy that was in charge of, I think, all of the cremation, he was a young dude, about my age at the time. I don't know, maybe about, late 20s, mid to late 20s, and he was so respectful. I mean, the things we talked about, I was like, dude, I am actually, like, I'm impressed and grateful that, you know, there was nothing stupid going on. They did everything very professional. I don't want to be directly behind the funeral, but I have to make a left at that light. But yeah, wow. A couple things there, you guys almost heard me crying. I'm not gonna lie. Well, anytime you think about your child, you know, anytime you think about something bad happening to your kid, you know, it hurts. But to kind of relive it for a second, it really, really hurts. But this isn't the cemetery she was from. Her viewing was at, like I said in another video, I think it was called Lawn Funeral Home. I normally take my hat off if I'm by a funeral crossing, but I cannot. Okay, this guy. What are you doing, you clown?